Well, hello there, and welcome back to our channel. Today is a bright and beautiful day to gather around and dive into some of the juiciest drama happening in Port Charles. I've been watching the shifting tides in Port Charles lately, and I must tell you, my heart just aches when I see families tearing each other apart. We all remember the days when Willow and Michael seemed like the picture-perfect couple, the kind of young love that gave you hope for the future. They weathered so many storms together, fighting tooth and nail for their family. But lately, things have taken an incredibly dark and bitter turn. It feels like we are watching a slow-motion train wreck, and as much as I want to look away, I just cannot help but be drawn into the sheer tragedy of it all. The innocence they once shared is completely gone, replaced by a cold, calculated war that is leaving everyone in their wake absolutely breathless. Just the other day, a scene unfolded that truly left me sitting on the edge of my seat clutching my pearls. You see, Willow has been finding her footing lately, especially after securing that highly coveted seat on the General Hospital Board of Directors. She has been transforming right before our very eyes, shedding that sweet, sometimes overly accommodating persona for something much harder and much more guarded. I watched as she sat in her new office, surrounded by the trappings of corporate power, looking every bit the formidable woman she is becoming. But that quiet moment of professional triumph was shattered in an instant when Michael came storming into her office like a bull in a china shop. I could feel the tension radiating through the screen the moment Michael walked through that door. He was a man on a mission, fueled by a fierce, almost blinding protective instinct. He had recently discovered that Drew was making significant strides in his recovery, regaining his mobility, and stepping back into the light. Now, for most people, a man recovering from such a terrible ordeal would be a cause for celebration. But for Michael, it was a massive red flag waving right in his face. He made it abundantly clear to Willow that he was not going to stand by and watch things unfold naturally. He marched in there with the heavy-handed authority of a true Corinthos, demanding that their current custody agreement be completely ripped up and thrown out the window. Listening to Michael lay down the law, I could not help but feel a deep pang of sadness for the children involved. Little Wiley and sweet Amelia are the real victims in this bitter feud. Michael was absolutely adamant that he did not want Drew to have any continued presence in the lives of his children. He sees Drew as a complication, a threat to the stability he desperately wants to maintain for his kids. In Michael's mind, he is the ultimate protector, the father who knows best, and he is willing to play hardball to ensure his children are kept in a safe, controlled bubble. He stood in that office, towering with righteous indignation, fully expecting Willow to simply bow her head and agree to his harsh terms. But oh, how the tables have turned. If Michael thought he was dealing with the old Willow, the girl who would cry and compromise just to keep the peace, he was sorely mistaken. I was absolutely mesmerized by how she handled his outburst. She did not raise her voice. She did not shed a single tear. Instead, she sat there with an icy, unshakable calm that honestly sent a little shiver down my spine. It is a tough row to hoe when you are dealing with an angry Corinthos, but Willow did not even flinch. She looked him dead in the eye and calmly informed him that his concerns about Drew being a fixture in their children's lives were completely null and void. The bombshell she dropped next was enough to make anyone's jaw hit the floor. With a steady, unwavering voice, Willow revealed that she is actively in the process of divorcing Drew. I have to admit, I let out a little gasp when she laid that card on the table. This was not just a casual update on her marital status. This was a strategic strike. By severing her ties with Drew, she effectively neutralized Michael's entire argument. She took the wind right out of his sails before he even had a chance to fully launch his attack. It was a brilliant, albeit heartbreaking maneuver that showed just how deeply she has learned to play this dangerous game of family politics. But Willow was not quite finished. And this is where I truly saw the depth of her transformation. She did not just defend herself against Michael's demands. She immediately went on the offensive. Taking full advantage of the moment, she firmly demanded a straight 50-50 split in the custody of Wiley and Amelia. She did not ask for it, she demanded it. She made it crystal clear that she is their mother, she has rights, and she is no longer willing to settle for whatever scraps Michael deems appropriate. The sheer audacity of her demand was breathtaking, especially considering the immense wealth and power Michael has at his disposal. What struck me the most was the supreme confidence radiating from Willow. She did not just make a demand, she backed it up with a bold declaration that she would absolutely crush him if he dared to take the matter to court. She practically dared him to file the papers, radiating a fierce mother bear energy that was both admirable and terrifying. She knows the legal system. She knows her newfound standing in the community with her hospital board position, and she genuinely believes that no judge in Port Charles would deny a mother her rightful share of time with her children. She painted a picture of a messy public court battle and confidently placed herself on the winning side of it. I watched Michael's face as the reality of her words washed over him. The anger that had propelled him into the room morphed into a dark, seething frustration. He had walked in expecting a swift victory, expecting to dictate the terms of their family's future, and instead he was handed a devastating defeat by a woman he once thought he could easily manage. He realized in that moment that he was outmaneuvered, at least for the time being. Without another word, he turned on his heel and stormed out of the office, leaving behind an atmosphere so thick with resentment you could cut it with a knife. Once the door clicked shut, the camera lingered on Willow, and that is when we saw the true emotional toll of this encounter. She turned her gaze to a framed photograph of Wiley and Amelia sitting on her desk. A slow, triumphant smile spread across her face. It was the smile of a mother who believes she has just secured her children's future, a woman who has finally found her backbone and used it to protect her family. But as I watched her smile, my heart felt heavy. Yes, she won the battle in that room, but at what cost? The bitterness and the scheming are slowly chipping away at the goodness that once defined her, and it is a tragic thing to witness. However, if you think the story ends with Willow's triumphant smile, you have another thing coming. This is Port Charles, after all, and nothing is ever as simple as it seems. While Willow was busy celebrating her tactical victory, basking in the glow of her newfound strength, she was completely oblivious to the dark clouds gathering just outside her door. You see, Michael Corinthos does not just walk away from a fight. He does not retreat to lick his wounds and accept defeat. When a man like Michael walks away in silence, it means his mind is already racing, calculating, and plotting his next move. It turns out that Michael's retreat was not a surrender. It was a calculated step back to set a massive, devastating trap. The story that is slowly unfolding reveals that Michael is quietly laying the groundwork for a scheme designed to completely pull the rug out from under Willow. He is weaponizing his anger, turning it into a cold, strategic weapon aimed directly at her future. He knows about her ambitions, he knows about her new position at the hospital, and he is looking for any weakness, any vulnerability he can exploit to ensure he comes out on top in this custody war. This looming trap is what truly has me worried for Willow. She is so focused on the victory of the moment, so convinced of her own invincibility in a courtroom, that she is entirely blind to the snare being set right beneath her feet. Michael has the resources of both the Quartermain and Corinthos empires at his fingertips. He has a network of influence that runs deep in this town, and when he sets his sights on destroying someone's credibility, he rarely misses. The trouble that is brewing is directly tied to her future, her reputation, and ultimately her ability to hold on to the children she loves so fiercely. This new development is proving that the tension between Willow and Michael is not just a passing disagreement, it is a full-blown explosive war. The obsession with winning, with controlling the narrative and securing absolute dominance over the children's lives is pushing both of them to unimaginable extremes. They are playing with fire, and the collateral damage is going to be immense. I cannot help but fear for Wiley and Amelia, who are caught in the crossfire of this toxic battle. When parents become so consumed with defeating each other, it is always the children who suffer the most profound wounds. As I sit here reflecting on all of this, I am filled with a mixture of dread and undeniable anticipation. The stage is set for an epic confrontation that is going to shake their family to its very core. Willow believes she holds all the cards, but Michael is quietly stacking the deck against her. We are watching a masterclass in manipulation and heartbreak, and I just know that the fallout from Michael's hidden trap is going to be spectacular. So keep your eyes peeled and your hearts guarded, my friends, because the storm that is about to hit Port Charles is going to be one for the history books, and I will be right here to share every shocking moment with you.